Inner Voice, a heartfelt chat with Dr. Foojan.
Listen up if you want to promote your personal growth and self-awareness. I found the Foojan app last month and I have been absolutely loving it. I personally have never learned guided meditation, but thanks to this app, I now have learned incredible tools for my own stress relief and emotional self-awareness. Not to mention, there are self-evaluation tools and professional coaching available to utilize however your journey to self-discovery takes you. Join Foojan today and redefine your life one step at a time.
Welcome to the Inner Voice, a heartfelt chat podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Foojan Zeine, a psychotherapist and author and the creator of the Awareness Integration Theory. Now, I'm thrilled to have you join us today for what I promised you is a very insightful discussion, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. In this episode, I talked to Mònica. She's the founder of Ascension Institute. She's known for bridging the gap between Eastern and Western philosophies with a profound understanding of the mind, human consciousness, and spirituality. She's been helping the transformation of individuals for more than 16 years. Now, central to Mònica's teaching and studies is the written word. She is the author of 9 books, including the bestseller in Spain and Latin America, named Mindfulness, and her latest book in English, The 7 Levels of Wisdom. Born with remarkable spiritual awareness, she immersed herself in the profound teachings from Tibetan Lamas, including Dalai Lama, during the decade-long exploration in India and Nepal. She teaches programs and guides meditations and transcendence retreats. She's been a TEDx speaker twice, a frequent Spanish national television guest, and an international keynote speaker at different events. Now, recently, Mònica co-directed and hosted her first documentary in spiritual awakening named Despierta, with more than 1.5 million views already, and is co-directing a new one about a new earth. Since 2007, she has taught emotional mastery, self-knowledge, and mindfulness to more than 2,500 executives and companies such as Accenture, Samsung, and Electronic Arts. And she was honored as one of the top 100 women leaders in Spain and one of the top 10 awarded thinkers and experts. In addition to Spain, she has lived in Paris, London, and Tanzania. And it's a pleasure talking to her. We looked at different levels of wisdom. What is wisdom? And some of the practical tools of how you could be there to live in the moment and how to create a fulfilling life. So I really enjoyed the conversation, and I hope you do too. Be sure to subscribe to my podcast, my YouTube channel, and connect with me through my website, foojanzeine.com, or any of my social media platforms. And share your thoughts with me. Go to Foojan app. You could go to foojan.com, and through that, go to the app, or just go to your Apple Store or Google Play and download Foojan app. You will go through, you have the opportunity to go through 31 different areas of your life through the concept of the awareness of your thoughts, emotions, behaviors, the impact, the results that you create, how to, where is all these belief systems coming from, how to create a new you, a whole new, a person that you're proud of to be, and then create your goals for the future and your life from that perspective. You also have an AI companion, Mira, who's going to answer any of your questions about yourself and life from the awareness integration model and platform. So I'm positive you'll enjoy it. You got a couple of days of free trial, so I'm sure you could kind of test it out and see how you like it. So Foojan app, don't forget. Now, share your thoughts with me. I love to hear from you constantly because you just, you create a way that I know what your needs are and how I can get your needs, whether I can answer some of your questions or I can bring the experts to be able to give you information for all that, right? So without further ado, here's Mònica.
Introducing a powerful new update from the Foojan app. Now with flexible subscription plans to fit your journey monthly, quarterly, or yearly. Our new AI-driven onboarding customizes your path to feeling better, faster, and enjoy a refreshed experience with stunning 3D interactive videos. Update now. Empower your inner voice with Foojan. Download today. Intentional Parenting, a practical guide to awareness integration theory, written by Dr. Jafari, Dr. Foojan Zeine, and Dr. Manoukian, 3 experts in human development, is your step-by-step guide to raising a healthy child prepared for a culturally integrated world. You're supported in parenting infants to adolescents using the latest evidence-based scientific research on parenting. Order your copy on Amazon now.
It is such a great pleasure to have you on the show, everyone. Mònica Esquiva is with us, the author of The 7 Levels of Wisdom. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm so delighted to be here with you.
Absolutely. Now, as I was reading about you, you had shared that you were kind of early on, whether you were born with it or early on, you have some access to some other kind of knowing that showed up for you. So I'm really intrigued to know about your experiences, what got you to be aware, and then obviously you took those path and went and learned so much more in with the Buddhist and with the I want you to share instead of me trying to share with everybody your experience. So just let us know about your journey of your own experience with your own spirituality.
Yes, I was born very spiritual in terms of being very aware of divinity around us. And I used to ask my parents, where do we come from? Where's the meaning of life, since I was a child? And of course, they thought that was really weird. I even asked them, I had a sense that I was not coming from Earth. I was coming from the stars. So I used to ask them. And I remember my father, I must have been, at the time, I was probably, I don't know, 7 or something like that. And I asked him, where do I come from? And he said, well, we just took you from under the bridge. You were living with some gypsies. And I was like, crying because they couldn't understand me, So that was really early in my life. And I have some memories. Even when I was at school, at one time, the professor was asking everyone, what do you want to become when you are an adult? And I remember people will say, my colleagues, I want to get married. I want to have 3 children. I want to be an architect. I want to have a big house, typical things. And when it was my turn, I remember I said, well, I want to become a wise person with a big heart. And then they were all looking at me like, is she an alien or what? So I guess I felt different since I was a child, but I tried to fit in. I went to university and I got a master's degree, and I moved to London first to work for Prada, and then I moved to Paris to work for INSEAD, which is an international business school. So I tried to fit in. But at some point, I went to Dharamsala, which is a little town at the north of India, at the foot of the Himalayas. And I went there to do some research about the Tibetans' kind of situation, the Tibetans that were refugees there. And I wanted to find out more because I wanted to write a book about it. And I went there for 3 weeks, and it turned out to be 3 months because I missed my plane back home. So I ended up staying for much longer. I started studying with the Tibetan Lamas. I started receiving teachings from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And that changed my life. Not because they taught me anything really new, but it was just a resonance with their teachings. And in a way, I felt that they spoke my language, and I was not Tibetan. But it was like, okay, I I understand them, they understand me, and we value the same things, which is compassion, which is wisdom, which is really becoming a better person and enlightenment ultimately. So when I went back home, home was Paris at the time, I realized I could not go on with my former life. It didn't make any sense. So in the course of 6 months, I left my husband. At the time, I left my job. I left my very comfortable life in Paris at the time. I actually left everything and I went back to Spain, which was home at the time, my parents' home, I mean, and started from scratch. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know how to earn a life, but I knew how to earn a living. But I knew that I didn't want to do. I knew I wanted to contribute to a better world, and I had to find out how to make it possible, you know? So that was, well, like 17 years ago. So that was the beginning of my new life.
Yes, yes. Now, in your book, you share about 7 levels of wisdom. So, first, I would ask you to actually define what you mean by wisdom, because different people might define it or have a different understanding
Yes.
of what the word is. So, when you said, "I want to be a wise person with a great heart," what did you mean, and what do you mean now as what is the wisdom? Who is a wise person?
I don't remember what I meant at the time. I was too small. But and now for me, wisdom is very different from intelligence. I think intelligence is measured by the EQ, and it's very important to be successful at school and university, but it's not wisdom. Intelligence can be devoid of ethics, but wisdom is intrinsically ethical and moral. So that's a big difference. And I think wisdom is very related to what the Greek used to value. And they used to say that wisdom was the path to benevolence, to beauty, and to to depth, So for me, it's all aligned to the greater good. And in a way, we could use the metaphor of an architect and a carpenter, It's like, okay, the architect is wisdom and is taking into account what the purpose is. And it will build the building with that purpose in mind, whether it's a building for a company or a house. And then the carpenter would just go with the pieces of wood and it's like, okay, I will put this here, but cannot go beyond that. So wisdom will give you the purpose. We will give you the goal in mind, whatever that is for you, but it's always aligned with the greater good. And the carpenter will just use it, whatever it has at hand, to be able to build it.
Beautiful.
I don't know if it makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. What I get from what you're sharing is also that there's an element of looking at the bigger picture of what is good, not only for the person, but for the greater good. So whatever concepts that are there, it's looked upon from a macro perspective and not just for the benefit of like one ego. It's not about
Exactly.
what am I going to get? But in the bigger picture, if we're all kind of being taken care of by each other, then ultimately all is every one of us and all the environment, everything is getting better for all of us. So the return is there because we are looking, it's a paradigm. We look at things from a different paradigm, which is for the benefit of all and not just
Exactly.
one.
Exactly. Because a psychopath can be very intelligent, but it will never be wise, because when you serve yourself, you are not a wise person. So a wise person will always take into account, as you said, the whole, whether it's all humans, other living beings, or the earth. It's like everyone is taken into account, because a wise person is able to understand that we are all interconnected, that we need each other, and not in a way that we create emotional dependence, but we need each other to survive here. And if we take into account everyone, then we have this kind of unitive mindset. And this is what is going to allow the whole earth to evolve, and us as a humanity. If we are just egotistical and selfish, we are just going to disappear as a race, you know?
Well, Monica, yes, we do need each other to survive, but I also think that we need each other to thrive. We can't
Yes.
get anywhere without each other. There's no
Exactly.
person solo that gets anywhere. So it is all of us. It is the family that created us, is the environment, is the teachers who taught us, is the environment, and the first maybe teacher or the first boss or the first customer or the first any of those pieces which made us who we are as we elevate toward the bigger goals of our life. So absolutely. So it's like we can utilize and look at the whole world and say they're just stepping stone for me to get up, or it's the whole world is here because together we move forward and thrive. And I can't go up if everybody else is not part of this going up. So that's
Exactly.
why I hear that the whole concept will, flourishes from. Now you share,
And it's always having the intention, every day that when you wake up, having the intention of being of benefit to the world. It's not just about your own business. It's not just about your own blood family. It's about the world as a whole. It's about the human family. We are all just one. And having this intention will just be present in your life so you don't hurt anyone. Even if it is on the way towards your goals, it's like you take everyone into account, and it's like, okay, if it's going to hurt others, then it's not worth it. It's just having into your perspective how I can help others, how I can be of benefit, instead of it's just me and my things. That is a very narrow-minded kind of way of surviving in this world, and I don't think it's going to take you very far.
very true. So everyone, the 7 levels of wisdom, A Path to Fulfillment by Mònica Esgueva. Monica, can you share a little bit about the different levels that you share in your book?
Yes, there are 7 because 7 is a magical, it's a sacred number, 7 chakras, 7 musical notes, and everything is in the universe is all in octaves of 7. So I think 7 is a very special number. And those levels we start with conformist, which is the level where the person wants to be part of the mass, wants to be part of the group of whatever it is, whether it's a group, a family group, or it's a nation or an ethnic, whatever it is. They don't dare to be different. Because that means that they will be rejected from the group, and they just want to belong. So that would be the conformist. The next one is the expert level. And this is a person that wants to be different, and in this case, but wants to be superior, feels superior to others. So it's very critical with all those people that don't think like him or her. And it's a level where you just want to stand out from the crowd because you feel that you are much better than others. And then you come to the achiever, and this is what our society supports and promotes and awards. Is like the maximum aspiration for everyone in our society. We all want to be achievers and have a lot of material success, be appreciated by others, be famous, have a lot of followers, and so on and so forth. So in our society, we think that this is the maximum summit that we can all go to. And in my opinion and my version of or my map, this is only the third level. So we have 4 levels beyond that. So we have to grow towards being more independent, to be able to question what we receive from our society, to be less conventional, and go towards becoming the best version of ourselves, to be self resilient, but also self-actualizers, as Abraham Maslow used to say. And then go even beyond that and realizing that we are rational, but we also have alternative ways of understanding the reality, which is the intuition, which is direct downloads from the collective or the universe, and then go beyond that at the very last level, which is the unitive, where you are in the present moment, where you appreciate everyone as they are. You don't want to control others. You don't want to be different than they are, and you feel good with them, however they act or whatever they think. You don't need them to be different to be loved by you. And then when you are at that level, you see the perfection in everything. You see the underlying perfection in everything that happens, not only what you agree with, but also what you don't agree with. What you find unpleasant is there for a reason. So you see, I could say that you see everything from a higher perspective, from the big picture, and you see that all pieces of the puzzle make sense, even if we cannot see it from our perspective here, because we are inside of a body. We don't have the whole version. We don't have the helicopter view, but it doesn't mean that there's not a sense, a purpose in everything that is happening in our lives and also in the world. So the person that arrives to that level can live in peace and has made peace with their past, their future, with others they are in relationship with themselves as they are, and with the world. So from that way of living, you can feel fulfillment instead of surviving or struggling to survive and to get by, So it's a very good aspiration, in my opinion.
So as you're sharing, this comes to mind where, yes, I mean, we are part of a herd. We, as human beings, want to be a part of a community. And as you were talking about these different levels, it's like there is a desire of oneness that shows up because we want to be a part of community. But in the first layers is almost like I want to find who I am within a community. So I'm still looking at building my own character within a community, and then achieving and then rising within a community. And then at one point where I achieve, where I feel that I am strong enough to find myself, then it's more about how to accept, not go to a place of separation and judge, but how to accept not only myself, but the community, everyone, and look at the world from what I do like and what I don't like. And it's coming out of that separation and seeing yourself as part of that bigger picture, with all of it, with every angle of what exists is part of the wholeness of what it needs to be existing. And that level of acceptance that you not only have for all different parts of you, but everything that's outside of you, creates this level of connection, which ultimately we want it anyway as being part of the herd. But somehow in the process of growing up, first we kind of come in and then get separated. And the whole point is to how to come back and be a whole again. Is that kind of what I'm hearing what you're saying? Because this is what it resonated with me.
Yes. I think what is important is to understand that at earlier stages, you want to be accepted. You need the approval of others to become someone, to feel that you are valued, to feel that you are worthy, to feel that your life makes sense. And then as you go along and as you progress on the ladder, let's call it that way, towards self-transcendence, then when you understand it, you don't depend anymore. You don't need everybody's approval or others' approval. You are the divine being that is here to experience things and learn from experience. So you connect with others from a place of oneness, from a place of acceptance, but not from a place of detachment as well, because you don't need them to be happy. You are happy because you are resting in peace with everything that is. So it's a very different way of looking at your connections with people. So the big difference here is you don't need them, but you love them. So you love them from unconditional love instead of conditioned love. Because when you are at a lower level, you love people as long as they give you what you want. When they don't give you what you want, you don't love them anymore. You don't want them in your life. And you want to control their behavior. You want to control how they think. Otherwise, you feel uncomfortable. When you are at a higher level, you don't need people to behave in a certain way to be loved by you. You just love them as they are. So in a way, you accept how others show up in your life. And then if you don't want them in your life, which is also possible, you can establish limits. But you don't do it from a place of frustration or disappointment or rage or hatred. You do it from a place of compassion, from understanding. And that changes the whole game because you don't feel dragged by your negative and afflictive emotions anymore. You are in a place of equanimity and balance and peace. So the whole way you live life goes from surviving or trying to be a winner and triumph over others, always comparing with others, competing with others, to a place where you let others be. And you're just very satisfied with your life because you don't need to get anywhere. It's like life is perfect as it is right now. And that hell, for me, that transforms your life. And it becomes like a game, but not a game in a deceitful way. It becomes a game in a way like Jesus used to say, you are in this world, but you are not part of the world. So you don't let others dictate how you need to think, how you need to react, how you need to dress, how you need to act. You follow your own path. I think Joseph Campbell described it very well. It's like everyone has to become the hero of their own story. You have to undertake your own trip, your own voyage, your own path towards yourself and find your own authenticity. And from there, you're comfortable with who you are instead of trying to become someone that you are not, so you are accepted in this world. I know I'm putting a lot of ideas out there, but
The unconditional love that you're sharing, I also call it unconditional kind of acceptance of what is about you and the world. So it's more like letting go of your judgment about it. Then you could choose how to deal with it. You could deal, with someone who's around you as part of the family, who you choose for them to be a part of your life. Or, you have that unconditional acceptance with someone who, for whatever reason, the path is no longer aligned and they're no longer in your world, but you still hold them outside of that circle, but still with the highest level of regard and acceptance, instead of judging them. Like, we don't have to push people out of our world with judgment. we could still choose, for someone to be consistently part of our daily life or not, but hold them the way they are. And, that is their choice, and we don't have to discipline the world or change the world. What we could do is to accept even different parts of us. As a therapist, obviously, I'm constantly working with people to even accept themselves with the highest level of regard and that conditional love. And so the conditions are more about, our level of judgment that says something should not be that way, and therefore I need to someone needs to change it before I can accept it. And part of this level of wisdom is to accept it as is, and then then decide how you want to be with it, but accept it as is versus constantly saying, no, it can't be that way, because it's just not part of reality. It is what it is. Now, if I stop struggling with accepting it, possibly I can get to the place of being at ease with it, or, set boundaries with it, or do whatever that I need to do. And that kind of elevates the concept of mental and emotional well-being, where you address in your book and in your work a lot about how to get into this mental and emotional well-being through this living in the moment and living fulfilled in the moment. And for me to be responsible to creating that kind of an acceptance and fulfillment for myself every moment, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's only when you accept things as they are that you can change them. And sometimes it's not under our control to change things, because we cannot choose from our ego everything in our lives or even in the world. But you go to the next level. If you can change things and you want to change them, do it by all means. But then when you cannot change what is, then you change your perspective. And when you change your perspective, then your life changes, because the whole experience is different. There's no one reality out there that is similar for everyone here on Earth. There are 8 billion realities, because it's the way you perceive it, the way you interpret the reality you are living. And that is what is of paramount importance. It's not so much what is happening, but how the conclusions you are extracting from it. And that will change your experience of life. And I think that is so important, and so very few people take it into account. They think that, okay, this is happening to me, so I need to be sad, or this is happening in the world, so I need to feel depressed, or mainstream media are giving this awful news, and then it's my responsibility to feel awful about it, to feel despondent, to feel, without hope. I don't think this is true. I think we need to keep our equanimity. We need to choose what kind of thoughts we feed. We need to really be aware of the emotions that we are creating with our thoughts, because this is going to determine our life experience. Certainly, we have been programmed and conditioned in a wide array of ways that are not positive for us. But we are not determined by our conditioning or our programming. We can change that. This is our power. We are not victims of society. We are not victims of the way we were raised, or whatever it is. We can be empowered by the way we choose our thoughts and our emotions. And I think this is so crucial to have, in order to have a peaceful life, to have a fulfilling life, to have a life of gratitude and joy. It all depends on us. It's not out there, and it's not up to other people or circumstances. It's up to us. So I think we need to take charge of our minds and hearts.
Absolutely. So if we come to some from the domain of theory, to come to practicality of what is it that we can do on a daily basis to keep our homeostasis, equanimity, to keep our fulfillment internally, and then obviously deal with the world from, from the source of being, that kind of like an unconditional acceptance. So there's practices that we need to do with ourselves, because it's easy for our ego to get caught into so many elements that, like you share, you turn on the news, you get caught immediately with the news that are there, which is all about watch out. This is how terrible the outside world is, because that's what the news is. Let me tell you how terrible the outside world is. So it's it's a battering to our senses consistently, as sometimes we open our eyes. So there's a practice that you suggest that we go in, and there's a way that we keep this source clean consistently. Can you share a little bit about those?
Sure. I think we have to start with being very watchful with what we let, how we open our minds to what, it's like, okay, if we watch mainstream media, news, etc., we are just going to be affected by it. So I think we have to be extra careful with that. What kind of movies or social media we just scroll down to, what kind of, how we open our minds and what we open our minds to. It's like very important to just be cautious of that. But for me, that's a main thing nowadays, that we live so glued to technology, to our mobile phones, to our iPads, etc. Be careful with that, because it does affect our well-being. So that would be, for me, the first thing. The second thing is, okay, have a practice of meditation or contemplation, prayer, whatever works for you, but have time in silence with yourself, connecting to your inner self, because everything in our world is about distracting you. It's about absorbing your attention and bombarding you with information that we cannot digest. It overloads our senses, and it's just too much for us to integrate. So that time, without any device, without any noise, is so important to just be, instead of doing always things, being effective, trying to be productive, trying to achieve things. It has a place. Our lives should have a place for that, but it cannot be our whole day. So I would say, take some time every single day for yourself, for introspection, for reflection, for finding your own peace of mind. So for me, that's another must we should take into our daily lives. I think it's also important to be present, instead of just thinking so much about our past, whether it is something that went wrong, or something we feel guilty about, or the good times are no longer here. We spend so much time just ruminating thoughts and past memories, but that is gone. So we are wasting our time when we do that. And also trying to go towards the future and try to protect ourselves from any eventuality or threat, because it's a lot of wasted energy. And I'm not against planning, but not trying to find security for the future when it's all fake, because we are never in control. We don't know what is going to happen. It doesn't matter how much you achieve or how much money you have in the bank. It's not going to protect you from whatever needs to happen. So be more in the present with presence. Be more that, make sure that your mind is where you are, because our minds go from past to future all the time. So if you are in the present, then you can enjoy life. Then you can be productive, but at the same time, you can be at peace at this very moment, because it has everything that you need already. Instead of thinking, oh no, I need a better moment. I need to achieve this in order to be happy. I need to get rid of this in order to be more comfortable, whatever it is. So be in the present with presence. think those are really easy ways to make it real for you in your daily lives, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I love what you said, which is, yes, we could create some vision about the future that we know that we want to move forward to, but to consistently live in a future that we have no control over, we have, actions to do, but even the actions are happening from the present moment. So any type of behavior, any type of thought, any type of emotions are still happening in the present moment toward the future, but it's happening in the present moment. So to have the ability to source it from here and be present and conscious from here to the present moment, and then obviously any type of behavior moves and creates some results in the present moment as we're going for the future. But just to get stuck in the past or the future, we're not living in here, so we can't really make the right choices if we're not living in the present moment. What you're sharing is the more
Exactly.
the more that we could practice to be in the present moment, it's that you're going to make the best choices for yourself to complete.
And the future, as you were saying, and the future will depend on what you are doing today.
Yes.
So it's really very like directly related to whatever you are today, whatever you are planting today, you will reap in the future. So that's why it's so important to be focusing the here and now.
Yes. So as we're going toward the path of fulfillment, a part of the path of fulfillment is to make sure that you are fulfilled in every moment of the present moment, because that's where fulfillment, that's how you're going to experience it. That's where you're going to feel it. When you're thinking about the future, you're not going to feel fulfilled because it's always somewhere to get to. You're not there yet. So it's a feeling of lack. It's a feeling of separation. My goal and where I get. If I live in the present, if the past is almost like, something was given away. So there's this either a remorse or a missing or, a grief about something that was great in the past. So the path of fulfillment, as you're sharing, is to experience the fulfillment in the present moment. And if we could create this every moment, that's part of bringing your wisdom, your knowledge, your vision of the betterment for all into the present moment, every moment that you're living. As we're getting close to the end of our conversation, anything, Mónica, that we haven't shared that you really want people to know?
Well, I think we have really left a lot of things to think about, a lot of food for thought already. But maybe it's just, if we will have to say one, it's like, okay, make sure that you have the right moral and ethical compass, because that is going to determine your future. Is whatever you do today, you will collect in the future. So do it with integrity, live with integrity, even do the right thing, even when you have no one looking, just because this is the right thing to do, because you want to be honest and I would say it's spiritual, but it's not even spiritual. It's just being ethical. And that will assure that you will have a good future. That's the most important thing, because this is the law of karma. Whatever you sow, this is what you are going to collect. And it is a law that even if you don't believe in it, it's going to happen. So make sure that what you do today is good, is wholesome, is positive for yourself and everyone else around you.
I usually say, like, do anything that you can be so proud that if it's blasted all over the news anywhere across the world, you still are proud and you don't feel shame, but anything that you did, regardless of who attempts to shame you, if you know that whatever behavior you did is because of your ethics, because of your principles, and because it was for the good of all, then you're going to feel fulfilled and unshakable.
Absolutely. I think it's a very good way of living.
Mónica, where can people find you?
I have a website, which is monicaesguevara.com, and I will spell it. It's Monica ESGUEVA.com. And then you can find everything about me in that website.
Beautiful. Everyone, go get this book, The 7 Levels of Wisdom, A Path to Fulfillment by Mònica Esqueva. Mònica, it was such a joy to have you on the show. Thank you so much for spending the time to be with us all the way from Spain.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a real pleasure.
And for all of you who are out there, create an amazing life for yourself and everyone around you. And until next week, bye-bye.
Are you a psychotherapist looking to enhance your practice? The Awareness Integration Therapy developed by Dr. Foojan Zeine is a comprehensive guide to the principle and techniques of this powerful therapeutic approach. Join the growing community who have elevated their practice and expanded their skills by embracing Awareness Integration Therapy and witnessing its life-changing impact. Order your copy on Amazon now.
Break free from the forces holding you back. Get the life you deserve. Eliminate stress, reduce anxiety, decrease depression, and start living your full potential. Thousands have used Dr. Foojan Zeine's Awareness Integration Theory, an evidence-based behavioral health breakthrough with incredible life-changing results. Getting rid of past trauma, having fulfilling relationships, increasing earnings, and living their best life. Now, the Foojan app is available to everyone. The app is Dr. Foojan Zeine's Awareness Integration Theory in the palm of your hand. Download the Foojan app today.